cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Kick out to Toppin. He'll take the three. He'll miss it with 2 seconds to go. Out to Shepard. Three at the horn. Good! 30-point lead for the Pacers. 3/4 in the books and trying to force Game 7 Sunday night. And Indiana in a rout wins Game 6. And the best 2 words in sport, we'll have a Game 7 to decide the NBA championship on Sunday. The Pacers win it, going away against Oklahoma City.
It's the Adam Gold Show. What's up? I am Adam Gold. That is Victoria.
It's a Friday.
It is a Friday.
We made it.
I mentioned that, actually used the term Friday in today's promo.
Nice.
I don't know if you heard it.
Nice.
I felt dirty afterward.
Yesterday felt like a definite pre-Friday.
I have felt like it was later in the week all week for whatever reason. I honestly can't even explain it, but it felt like a Thursday days ago, which makes this week the longest week ever.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't do anything that serious here.
It's fine. Well, plus that happens when you take like time off, because then when you come back and have a full week, it's like double now because you're used to having shorter weeks.
I was off for 4 days a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
I will be off next week. It was supposed to be the following week, inside baseball, but the NHL free agency season begins on July 1. So Paul came to me, corner office maestro, came to me and said, "You really want to be off on the 1st?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
Yeah.
My issue is that when we get vacation and I don't take it really during the season, and the season can be long.
Yes.
So it piles up. So at this point, I'm just like, just take this week off. I'm not doing anything.
Right.
I'll be mowing a lawn.
Yeah, it's staycation.
So anyway, so it didn't really matter. So I didn't have anything planned, nothing major planned.
Well, that's good because it's also cheaper that way.
Well, it is.
It's expensive to travel.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, and all of our traveling is centered around youth soccer anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So silly.
Yeah.
So we will not be here next week, but we will be paying close attention to what happens at the NBA draft, which is a week from yesterday, round 1. Are they really splitting the NBA draft into 2 days?
I guess so.
For 2 rounds?
Yeah.
What?
Why?
What? And the NHL draft, which is round 1 a week from tonight. Then isn't it like rounds 2 and 3 the next day? And then rounds 4 through 7 the day after that? Also don't understand why we're stretching this out over 3 days, but whatever. But so we'll be paying attention to these things as we get closer. I made the mistake. Aileen was asking me about the draft yesterday, and she asked like who are the Hurricanes going to take, and I'm like, A, you should know me better than that. I don't know any of the players who are in this draft, and B, I said, my prediction is they won't. And as soon as I started saying that, I realized I had touched the third rail. It's like, Why do you have to predict everything? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not making a prediction other than the Hurricanes, because their pick is 29th, and they don't view 29 as any different than 40. So I anticipate they will probably trade out of the first round, compile a second and another third, because they view it as just throwing darts. Let's see how many bullseyes we might be able to get. Compile as many prospects, I should say, compile as many Russian prospects as we can.
Right.
And we'll see what happens. So, because that's the way they have treated the draft. So we'll see what happens. But, I'm not anticipating any fireworks in terms of what happens at the draft. And we can get all excited about players who are drafted. But there's, for the most part, if you're picking 29th, you're probably picking somebody who is years away from the NHL.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of players who are going to be good enough to play in the league right away, and the Hurricanes are unlikely to draft any of them at number 29. With that said, we do have a Game 7, so let's start there. I really don't have my finger on the pulse of the NBA Finals. I thought Oklahoma City would go, you know what? We don't want to let this go back to a Game 7. We're the better team. Let's just go out and just lay the wood to these guys now and be done. They got off to a 10-2 start, and then they got housed.
Yes.
So
Bad.
It was 10-2. And then it was 26-17 Indiana. And yes, it was close at the end of the second, at the end of the first, but it wasn't close at halftime. And at one point, the lead was 30. And
yeah,
there you go. And for the Pacers, Rick Carlisle, the head coach, is into Game 7.
One game. I mean, this is what it's all about. I mean, this is what you dream about growing up, this kind of opportunity. It's a very difficult place to play. We know that. But the opportunity to play in a game like this is a great honor and a great privilege.
Well, good luck with it. Anything can happen in this game. When you get to a Game 7, it does not matter. For my money, once again, and this will be interesting. Remember that the NBA Finals MVP is in fact just of the finals. It is not of the playoffs like it is in hockey. It is just of the finals. And while I'm not trying to say he is the odds-on favorite, I will be interested to see what kind of support TJ McConnell gets, because McConnell did it again. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals off the bench. He has been unbelievable in this series. He was great in Game 5, which they lost, but he has been very good in the series, incredibly solid. He's been good throughout the playoffs, but my guess is right now the front runner would be Pascal Siakam. That is just, if I had to guess it right now, it would be Siakam. Tyrese Halliburton, the starter, bad calf and all, understands the importance of the guys coming off the bench.
All year, we've just preached how important depth is to our success. I feel like we've really believed in our second group. They've been able to come in and pick up the energy when it's needed, when we're having good games, continue, to keep the energy flowing. Obviously, TJ and Obi are kind of the head of that snake off the bench, and we just got so many different guys that can chip in, and that's the thing about, the NBA and the playoffs is you never know when your number is going to be called, and we have so many guys that are prepared, for that moment.
They've got a lot of guys. I mean, Obi Toppin has been great in the playoffs as well. So, look, could the Pacers do it? Yeah, the Pacers can. Remember what happened in Game 1 when Ben Mathurin went nuts off the bench with 27 points? He hadn't really done much since. But we know that there is one of those games still lurking out there. You never know. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Thunder on Game 7.
It's one game for everything you ever dreamed of. If you win it, you get everything. If you lose it, you get nothing. And it's that simple.
Are you sensing any differences in the difficulty of closing out a finals versus closing out any other playoff series?
No, I see it as the same thing. Like in round 2, if we had lost, I would have been just as disappointed. We would have went home and our season would have been over. And if we lose, the season's over in the wrong way. So either way, I would have been extremely disappointed. So I don't think it's much different.
All right. Can we interrupt this program for a little bit of breaking news? Carolina Hurricanes have signed Eric Robinson to a 4-year contract extension. I like it. $1.7 million average annual value. It goes through the 28-29 season. Do you know who I think Carolina fans have to thank for Eric Robinson?
Oh, is it Miko?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's
We're
always
not thanking
a good
Miko
go-to.
Rantanen for that. Tony DeAngelo.
Oh.
Tony DeAngelo trained Robinson in the offseason and recommended Robinson to the organization, recommended the organization to Robinson. And I remember the first time that I had contact with Tony during the season. I had tweeted something about Eric. I don't know if he scored a goal or whatever. I mean, he had a very good year, and to me is a very important part. He's going to be a fourth liner for this team, but he can play higher in the lineup. You remember at the beginning of the year, Kotkaniemi, Necas, and Robinson were a thing for about 12 or so games. Necas really took off when Robinson went on the other wing. And so I tweeted about it, and I got a text from Tony. Mind you, at this point, Tony was already playing in Russia.
Yeah.
Do that math. It was during a Hurricanes game. Actually, it was before the game. It was like a half hour before I was going to go on the air with Stormwatch. So it's 6 o'clock. Where he was in St. Petersburg, I think it's 7 hours ahead. Might be 8 hours ahead, but it's at least 7 hours ahead. So do that math. Like, Tony, why are you texting me? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 1 o'clock in the morning where you are. Go to bed. But he keeps in touch, and he keeps tabs on what his friend Eric Robinson is doing. Anyway, I just brought that up because I thought it was interesting.
We'll have to get him on to talk baseball.
Tony, Tony's waiting to sign first, and then we'll talk baseball.
Yes.
I actually spoke with him not that long ago.
Nice.
Yeah, especially Phillies are doing well. Mets have now lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm not going to worry about that. But good sign for Carolina to get Eric Robinson in. And now, if you are keeping tabs on such things, Hurricanes have about $28 million roughly with 12 forwards already signed and 4 defensemen, but 5 if you count Alexander Nikishin on that list because he's got 1 more year left on an entry-level deal. So they need, what, 1 defenseman to fill out your starting, theoretically, your starting complement of forwards and defensemen? Really? You got a lot of money. Going to be busy over the next 2 weeks. All right, let's get back to the basketball, and then we'll get back to some hockey matters, but I think a good signing for Carolina. Jalen Williams, remember, he had 40 points in Game 5. Not too put off by what happened last night, saying this is not supposed to be easy.
I think we had the right mindset coming into it. I think there was different things that we didn't do in the game well that hurt us. But closing out in the finals is different from playoff game because it's the end of the season. You know what I mean? And you play for so long that it just has more weight to it. Obviously, you want to win a championship, and you don't want it to feel like it was all for nothing. So that's been the biggest difference between closing out now as opposed to a Denver series or Minnesota. And I feel like they probably felt that way too. For them being down 3-2, knowing that your season's on the line and you're in the finals just has more weight to it.
It does. I'm not sure why that should matter to Oklahoma City. Granted, Indiana played great. There's no doubt about it. But if you're OKC, even though you're on the road, man, why do you want to put everything into one game with, essentially a week off in between the game 6 and 7? I kid. It's not until Sunday. We have no basketball tonight, no basketball tomorrow. We'll be back here on Sunday. Like, that was the game to lay it all on the line and try to end it then. Didn't happen. Tim Legler from ESPN on the Pacers' mindset.
Yeah, I sensed a seriousness about their team, and I think what it really took was that emotional lift that Tyrese Halliburton gave them. We were all waiting and wondering, what's he going to look like? You start to get news before the game. When you and I were standing right there, he was working out, making threes in front of us. You still don't know if that means he's going to be a threat once the game starts. Clearly, he was early, enough of a threat. I think that is really what kind of lifted the pressure cooker off this place. They knew that he was going to be out there. He was going to be a factor. He started moving better and better as the first half wore on.
I mean, you get your guy. He's their leader. So if you know he's going to play and he's going to help, and he had 21 last night, so it was a different Tyrese Halliburton than the one that played in Game 5. And then that T.J. McConnell's coming off the bench to basically put on his cape, and that's just awesome. And look, I actually do expect Oklahoma City to win Game 7 on Sunday. But man, have they put it in jeopardy? Just you don't let it get to Game 7 if you can avoid it. And I'm not saying they could have avoided it. It just seemed like they didn't really have a lot after they took that initial lead, and Indiana came out of the corner swinging. All right, back to hockey for a few. Sam Bennett last night at a nightclub with Sam Reinhart standing next to him, wearing an Alexander Barkov Finland jersey. Sam Bennett gave a hint at what's happening.
Everyone, quiet. I hear what you're saying. I don't have much to say. Yeah, I do have one thing to say.
That was his Wolf of Wall Street moment, right?
100%. Absolutely.
So there was an expletive deleted, but basically he said, I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
Which isn't a surprise. Well, I shouldn't say isn't, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. But I have said from the very beginning, I do not for 1 second believe that Florida is going to allow Aaron Ekblad and Sam Bennett to walk out the door. I think they keep both. They won't necessarily be team-friendly deals, but they will be, pretty reflective of the market. In Bennett's case, it won't be reflective of what he could get on the open market, but more reflective of what a player of his regular season caliber with a little bit of juice, because he's really just a 50 to 55 point guy, all things being equal. That's basically what he is. And that guy shouldn't get, more than $8 million on the open market. But if you were the Hurricanes, to me, I don't care what he gives you during the regular season because of what he gives you in the playoffs. And I would, if I were Carolina, I would have no problem paying him $10 million. Zero problem paying him $10 million. Even though that is way overinflated for what he gives you during the regular year. But the playoff Sam Bennett, that is worth a lot. But to Florida, and I'm not saying he's not worth more to Florida, they can get him on a normal deal for a player of his status. Aaron Ekblad, same way. I think they both come in. Ekblad probably between 7 and 8. Bennett right around 8. I don't know, maybe less. I don't think they can keep Brad Marchand. if they keep those other two guys, because they still have to fill out the bottom of the roster, and they've only got $19 million to work with. Unless they were to move a player off of their roster, let me just throw this at you. If they were to trade Evan Rodriguez, by the way, if I were Carolina, I would be interested in Evan Rodriguez. But if they were to trade Evan Rodriguez, then you might open the door to Brad Marchand. But I don't think they're trading that. And I think Marchand is going to ultimately sign a fairly sizable contract for 3, maybe 4 years. Anyway, that's Sam Bennett, who is sticking around. I'll give you my latest Hurricanes wish list in a minute. Connor McDavid. They had their exit meetings. They meet the media, blah, blah, blah. Here's McDavid, who is entering the final year of his contract this year, talking about the future.
It's only been a couple days since the season ended. Take some time to regroup. Talk to my agent a little bit and family and all that, and make some decisions whenever that time comes. But there's no rush on anything like that.
I mean, I would say there's no way Edmonton trades him, except Gretzky got traded. So
it's possible.
Different reasons. I know we don't have to get into it. Gretzky was traded because Edmonton could not afford to pay him. Or didn't want to afford to pay him, maybe. The Oilers can afford to pay Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take $17 million a year to do it, but the cap's going up. I don't believe Connor McDavid is going anywhere, but hey, I'd offer a third-round pick for him. Yeah.
Why not?
Even if Carolina has too many forwards right now, if they acquired McDavid, somebody would have to sit.
Even though he's not finished, still we'll take it.
And by the way, just in case anybody just tuned in, Hurricanes filled out their complement of forwards today, signing Eric Robinson to a 4-year deal, $1.7 million per. All right, real quick. The wish list that I've got right now. There are free agents, not a great free agent crop. And there are potential trades. We'll talk about that. First on my list of I want you to sign him to a free agent deal is Brad Marchand. Number 1 on my list. Carolina doesn't like to pay that free agent premium. Believe it or not, I don't think there will be one with Marchand. He's going to get $7 or $8 million a year no matter where he goes. And that's what he's worth. The deal will be likely short. It'll probably be 3 years. I wouldn't even be against going to a further year. The 4th year will be his age 40 season. But I think that's okay for somebody who keeps himself in great shape. The guy I just watched can get it done. And you're not bringing him in to be a frontline player. You're bringing him in to be a middle 6 winger, penalty killer, leader, playoff performer, all of that. All in on Brad Marchand. Right after that, Nick Ehlers would be my second choice. I've always thought that Carolina has really liked the player, and I would not be shocked at all if July 1 that happens. Brock Besser after that. Notice I have not said Mitch Marner yet. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not anti-Mitch Marner. But to me, if you're going to spend anywhere from, $13 to $15 million on a player, it better be exactly what you need. Mitch Marner isn't exactly what Carolina needs. I have Ekblad on the list, but I really don't think Florida. If Florida makes him available, then Ekblad would be actually in front of Marchand for me. Ekblad would be the number 1 target if he is a free agent on July 1. No doubt about it. Number 1 target. John Tavares, from Toronto would be on my list of free agents to go after, even though I don't think he's leaving Toronto, and I'm not entirely sure he wants to play a high-intensity, up-tempo way here. But also, how would Tavares make up for all the goals he scores against Carolina? I mean, he's got 50 in his career against the Hurricanes. And Mikael Granlund from Dallas. They absolutely cannot afford to pay him, because they are right now trying to shed players. In fact, they did yesterday. Mason Marshman, who at one point was announced to have signed for Carolina as a free agent 4 years ago, but ended up signing with Dallas. He was with Florida, and they had no room at the inn. So he signed a free agent deal with Dallas, but essentially signed the exact same deal there that he had agreed to with the Hurricanes. So he goes to Seattle for a couple of mid-round draft picks. Guys I would trade for. Here's my list. Elias Lindholm from Boston. Shane Pinto from Ottawa. Don't know if either of those guys are really available, but I would inquire. Tomas Hertl from Vegas. J.J. Paterka from Buffalo. Alex Tuck from Buffalo. If Buffalo is trying to remake their roster in some ways, I'd love to help. I think there are some really good players there. Rasmus Anderson from Calgary. Jean-Gabriel Pageau from the Islanders. Down the list, but I think fills a role. He has 1 year left in a deal. And I'd make the trade, but I wouldn't even look to extend him right away. I would make him play. I would have him play out the year and trade him. And if it didn't work out, you could always move him. Think about this as Eric Halla, because they did that with Eric Halla back in the day as well. All right, we're going to break right here. When we come back, Nick Stevens, highschoolot.com, the man behind that website for many, many years, is moving on. But we will talk to him about the state of high school athletics in North Carolina. And I don't know what else. He's a Canes fan. We'll talk Canes too. Next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
Kick out to Toppin. He'll take the three. He'll miss it with 2 seconds to go. Out to Shepard. Three at the horn. Good! 30-point lead for the Pacers. 3/4 in the books and trying to force Game 7 Sunday night.
The Stanley Cup Finals and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I don't know about you, but I am ready for this weekend and our special June holiday tomorrow. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and the holiday I'm referencing is World Motorcycle Day, which is celebrated every year on June 21st as a day to promote freedom of the road because it's the longest day of the year. And we're in luck here because the weather should be great, and it just so happens to be on a Saturday, so perfect combination to plan a ride. But part of being prepared is also knowing who to call if you're ever in an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault. Always remember to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they get it. They know the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you've made, and what it's like to go through an accident. Case evaluations are always free, and you won't pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare heads. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
WakeMed Brain and Spine wants to stop strokes in their tracks. If you think someone is having a stroke, use the acronym B FAST and assess these functions. B, balance. Do they have trouble walking? E, eyes. Are they having trouble seeing? F, face. Does their smile droop? A, arms. Ask the person to raise their arms and notice if one drifts down. S, speech. Is it slurred? And T, time. It is important. Call 911 and get to the hospital as quickly as you can. To check your stroke risk assessment, visit wakemed.org.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Let me talk to you quickly about questionable decisions. Questionable decisions like having prospective Cy Young Award winners in each league pitching in the same doubleheader, but not pitching against one another. I mean, why would you want that matchup? What are we doing? It's just like paying closing costs when you don't have to when you get your mortgage. That's right. Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage so you could save thousands of dollars, then have the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates came down. And they will. Look, if you pay closing costs, you are telling the world that you don't believe rates will be lower within an 8-year period, because that's the break-even point. Don't ever pay closing costs. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. MillerLending.com online. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 2502146.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Oh, it is summertime.
Today is the first official day of summer.
Is it really?
Yes.
The 20th?
Yeah.
Why did I think it was the 21st?
I mean, I thought it was the 21st too, but...
Oh, okay. So maybe it is.
I just Googled it, and it said today's the day.
Really?
So.
Okay. Today's happy summer to everybody. I am Adam Gold. That is Victoria. Nick Stevens, managing editor, high school OT, but outgoing. So put the microphone up to your face.
Is it not?
What it was
Okay.
too low.
All right.
It's too low.
Make sure people can hear me.
Exactly. So can we do emeritus? What is it?
I don't think anybody wants that.
I think for emeritus, you got to be much older. You are still a very young man. Since I don't know if it's fair or if it's it might not even be enough to say that you were the creative juice behind what is now high school OT. And without heaping unnecessary praise on you, Nick Stevens, there's a lot of attention being paid to high school sports, not only in the Triangle but across the state. And you have really helped take it to another level. So on behalf of whoever it is on behalf of, well done for all that you have put into this and have gotten out of it. Now, where are we with high school sports in the state of North Carolina? That is probably as open-ended and, I mean, fertile a question as you're going to get asked about it. But where are we?
It's a different world in high school sports, not just in North Carolina, but just in general.
Right.
Things things change in sports generally, they eventually trickle down to the high school level. That's
Sure.
how it always works. And I mean, we have NIL in high school now.
It's amazing.
And by the way, high school sports have not died because of NIL yet.
No way.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Right.
We have NIL in high school. You see the transfer portal stuff in college, the number of transfers in high school sports increasing every year, it feels like. We don't have a portal in high school.
Right.
But there's a lot of kids moving around every year.
Because the school year has to end. And the school year is a year, right?
Well, there's some transfers that happen in the middle of the school year as well. And, that's one of the things that a lot of coaches and ADs would like to see addressed at some point. Kids moving around from school to school, like in Georgia, they just passed a new policy down there that is very restrictive on transfers. And so I think you're going to see that issue bubble up some more. Obviously, the thing here in North Carolina specifically, things have really changed in the last few years in terms of how the NCHSAA can administer athletics. The state legislature much more involved,
right?
Or giving that to the state board of education and the state superintendent. So that's kind of adjusted some things. That there's some uncertainty about where things go in the future with that, especially financially. NCHSAA has been operating in the red for multiple years in a row now. So that's something to watch. But I do think I think we get really obsessed sometimes with all the things that are wrong or could go wrong,
right.
or and I think that's just human nature. But there's a lot of really good things happening in high school sports, and that's what I enjoy so much about them. Is no matter where you look, you can find something good.
Right.
And I think that that's an important part of this, because yes, we play high school sports. We want kids to be able to go play on scholarship in college or make it to the Olympics or whatever. Most kids are not going to do
right.
that. And if that is all we're getting out of high school sports, we are failing. And there's so much more that happens in high school athletics, and the relationships people build, the things that kids learn that they're going to take with them when they go do jobs in the real world. There's so much more that comes along with high school sports than the NIL money or winning a scholarship to go play college sports. And that's the part that I think sometimes we lose track of.
Nick Stevens in studio with us after today will no longer be the managing editor of High School.
I think this is my last assignment right here.
This is it?
This is it.
So at 12:40, it truly is, high school sports truly is an extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
As opposed to in college, some of it is, but most of it is job pursuit and things like that, money-making endeavors for the universities and the players. But it truly is at the high school level. It really is extracurricular. Happens after school.
Yep.
And we have school, then we go to practice, as opposed to what happens a lot in colleges. I am curious. Are you in favor? I think I know the answer to this, but because I know what I think.
Yes, I think the Canes should get Mitch Marner.
No. Are you in favor of what has happened over the last year, where the state legislature has usurped the authority of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and is stepping in to run it? The way I look at it is that, and this might be a political statement or not, I don't care. I don't think that as a body they seem to be all that interested in public education. So why are they interested in the sports played by public schools?
I think that, and I'm going to be careful how I say this because
I wasn't very careful. I apologize.
When we cover a story like that, we have to be able to step outside of the story to cover it. Not necessarily this side says this side says that. We should be covering what's true.
Right.
But I try to keep my opinion out of it. That being said, I think that's whole situation. I think there were things that the NCHSA could have done that may have mitigated some of that.
Sure.
The transparency stuff, you start talking about tens of millions of dollars, people are going to be without, and it's so detailed that you don't know all the ins and outs of it, and it's hard to. I don't know that I think there's a place for the state government to play a role. Having oversight, having transparency, making sure things are done well. And the fact that the NCHSA has an endowment fund like it does or did, I think is evidence that they are running things well.
Right.
They're financially secure. I do think that it may have overstepped some. I think that limiting the NCHSA, you can't have sponsorships, for example. I mean, that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money. There's a lot of things I think that the state government has stepped over a line where those decisions would have been made best by people who are working at the school level, who are on that board of directors, who's made up of people who work at the school level,
right.
And the NCHSAA. They know all of that stuff, and I think that there's still room for that to get worked out in the future and maybe revisited, but we'll see.
Nick Stevens, managing editor until like 7 minutes from now, highschoolot.com. There's a lot of room in between what the General Assembly has done and essentially streamlining or improving the way the North Carolina High School Athletic Association does business, rather than essentially neutering them to a certain extent. Where else? What does the NCHSAA? What do they do best?
They do a lot of things really well. Number one, the state championship experience that you get in North Carolina is amazing.
Right.
And I'm not talking about just...
Sounds like the NCAA. They do a good job of putting on championships.
It's not just football either.
Right.
There are some outstanding venues that they play. Some of the non-revenue, I hate that term, but non-revenue sports that they play those state championships in.
Soccer was played at a good...
down in Matthews, the Mecklenburg County Sportsplex. That's, they have a lot of great venues. They do a good job with that. They make it a really good experience for the kids. The Final Four in basketball that they started last year has been a really big hit, playing all those games at one location. Mm-hmm. It's really upped the level, I think, for high school basketball in North Carolina. But they do a lot of other things too. They have a student services program, or had, I'm not sure if that's still in existence now with the state legislature, but they do stuff with teaching kids leadership skills, and doing retreats with them. And, they've done things in the past, like making sure every single school has a working AED in the school, stuff that helps make high school sports better and safer, for them. So they do a lot of really good stuff. Now anytime you're a governing body of anything, you're going to catch a lot of arrows.
Sure.
And there's things that, I don't necessarily agree with that they do, but that's just how it is.
Do we have too many divisions?
Right now, 4A?
Yeah. No, because we're...
With 8A?
Yeah.
I would have gone to 6 classifications. I think 8's too many. I think 4's not enough. I would have gone to 6, but they've gone to 8. And we'll see how it works. There's some, I won't say there's buyer's remorse yet, but there are some people who are like, what do we, maybe we shouldn't have done this. I think it's hard to say until we see how it plays out. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 or 4 years we see some proposals come forward that make some changes.
Have they done a good enough job dealing with the growing number of charters?
That's such a tough thing.
No, I agree. And I'm also, and I know they're a lightning rod, because I know I get complaints about it all the time, and I've made jokes about it. But schools like Cardinal Gibbons, right, that are privates, have they done a good enough job as in terms of properly placing them where they belong in whatever classification they're in?
I think it's important for people here to know this is an issue in every single state.
No question about it.
Everybody is trying to deal with right now.
I grew up in New Jersey, and some of the best, football playing schools were Catholic schools.
Right. And nobody has figured out the right way to fix it. I think right now their hands are tied based on what those schools have passed in terms of the new bylaw for the 8 classifications. They can only use their enrollment numbers for that, so they can't really do anything. I think that their hands are kind of tied right now. This is not anything I've heard from the NCHSAA, but this is just me, analyzing this.
Right.
You talk about charter schools. Well, there's a lot of support in the legislature for charter schools. So if the NCHSAA went in and was like, all right, charter schools, we're going to put you in your own division.
Right.
Is that going to solicit a reaction from the state legislature that just took a lot of action against the NCHSAA in recent years? So, I feel like their hands are kind of tied in that. And I do think that there's some multipliers you could do to move some people up in classifications based on whether or not they're a charter or a private school or whatever. But I don't think there's a perfect answer that's just going to make everybody happy.
Should we have promotion and relegation? Never mind. You don't have to answer that question. Nick Stevens, highschoolot.com, the man behind it. All right. Can high school sports, and I think you're moving into this realm, how can high school sports kind of tap into the marketplace more than they do? Should they?
Yeah, they should.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is like funding for public schools is shrinking, right?
That's largely my argument against why the legislature should step away from this.
Right. And so funding is harder. Everything costs more.
Yeah.
People are not putting money into athletics because they're like, well, we're losing money for textbooks. Why would we put money into sports? Now, I would argue that high school athletics are the number one dropout prevention program that exists.
True.
And we should be investing more in them. But yeah, so schools are going to have to take their own products and figure out how to monetize them to keep high school sports, solvent. And that's something I'll be working on in my new position. I'm excited about that. But yeah, they should be doing that because they own those things. They own their games, they own the teams on the field, they own all of that stuff. And the number of people in the media who are covering high school sports continues to decline. You're going to have to go make your own.
It declines?
Oh, yeah. Local media is not investing in high school sports. Capital Broadcasting is an anomaly in that, a big-time anomaly in that. It's just there's not as many people covering high school sports now. So if you want to get attention for your teams and bring people in to put butts in seats, you need to be able to do that.
This is gonna sound like, how could you possibly ask this question now? Because I was gonna ask it, and the last thing we do in terms of seriousness, is there appetite for like a high school sports network? Like whether it's radio or like cable or YouTube, to have like games of the week.
So there is an NFHS network that the NFHS has where they live stream. Almost every school in the state uses it.
Okay.
And so they live stream there, and there's a small monthly fee you pay. You can watch all the games you want to.
Really? Never mind that.
Yeah.
So yes.
So that exists, and schools are making money off of that. That plays a role in what I'll be doing next.
There you go.
So.
All right. Mitch Marner? Is that who you want? Who do you want?
I want everybody.
We got like almost $30 million to spend. Eric Robinson
was a good extension.
4 years, $1.7 million a year. Who do you want?
I believe that Mitch Marner is the one I'm picking.
Okay.
I think you disagree with that, though, don't you?
Well, he's not really what they need. Pass first.
Yeah.
Wingers.
I get that.
He's a great defender. He profiles as a Hurricane, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
He 100% profiles as a Hurricane, but it would be at the expense of somebody like him. That's what I would.
I mean, I don't ever know what I read on Twitter is true or not, or X, but like there's a lot of talk about Ekblad.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good one to get.
Well, if Ekblad leaves Florida, he'd be the priority for me.
Yeah.
In
I
free
think
agency.
he'd be a great one.
Oh, it'd be tremendous. Mm-hmm. You'd pair him with Jacob Slavey, you'd be done for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
You would be.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be 7 because he can only sign a 7-year deal with Carolina. But yes.
And they need somebody in that position.
Uh-huh.
So I would love that too.
All right. Aaron Ekblad and Mitch Marner.
$30 million, they could get both.
And get something else.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Ekblad will cost you 10. Marner will probably cost you 14. But yeah.
Yeah.
We got plenty of money to spend.
I know it's a good feeling compared to last offseason.
You might still be able to get Marchand in there too.
Well, the rumor was that they were trying right at the deadline.
I don't know if they were trying. They should have.
Okay.
I was pushing should.
Like I said, I don't ever know if what I read on Twitter is true.
Don't ever read Twitter. Nick Stevens, first of all, congratulations on what you have created, and good luck moving forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in. All right, we have one-timers. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of
the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming, or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome to the weekend. It is time to dig in at the plate for all of your Major League Baseball action. If you're a hitting aficionado, we've got hits, total bases, home runs. Love anytime home run hitters. Maybe pitching is your thing. How about strikeouts? Total outs recorded. Either way, don't get caught looking. Pardon the pun. New customers, $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
After I lost my mom, I lost my way. Then I found youth advocate programs, YAP.
YAP gives communities alternatives to residential care, youth incarceration, and neighborhood violence. Others talk social change. We make it happen. Learn more at yapinc.org.
This is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Happy summer. We need Alice Cooper's School's Out.
Oh, that's going to happen. That's on the dock.
So when Aileen drives Jack to school, the last day of school,
She has that on repeat.
She blasts it out of the open windows of the car.
Yeah.
As she drops him off. Now, granted, she's been doing that since Jack was like in first grade.
Oh, nice. It's a tradition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Fun little fact. Alice Cooper's on my family tree. Yeah.
Really?
Somewhere down there, yes. He's on the family tree, apparently. My mother told me.
Very nice. Alice Cooper has been on this program before.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Family reunion.
Cooper, I was a different time slot, but Cooper was in town for a concert, and he's a huge golfer. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yeah, but we talked golf and a little bit of music, but it was I remember I forget how many producers ago it was. He said, "Hey, do you want to talk to Alice Cooper?" I'm like, "Yeah,
duh.
Of course. I don't even care. I could not name for you other than School's Out for Summer.
Yeah.
I could not name for you one other Alice Cooper song.
Well, you've been hearing that one forever now, so.
I don't, because she's dropping Jack off at school. I don't go to school.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time. One timer.
All right. Well, let's see here. I'm going to look. We have a couple of them. I like this one from Sawyer. Should Rod Brindamore have a case to be on the Canadian coaching staff for the upcoming Olympics?
Yes. He's one of the best coaches in the NHL, so yeah, he could absolutely have a case to do that. I don't think he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rod didn't even want to coach the All-Star team. So yeah, that's my answer.
That's probably not going to be. Well, we might have time. Look, we have time for two. Will we trade Kotkaniemi by July 1st, and what return do you see us getting for him?
No, they won't. If they do, it'll be a mid-round draft pick. That's what I believe they will get. And that will be okay. All right, we'll reset. Next hour, also, Mark Packer joins us.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Coming up on Sunday, the NBA season will end. It is the ultimate game. It is Game 7, Pacers Thunder in Oklahoma City with Indiana, the customary 8-point underdog. Money line, plus 250, or if you like the Thunder, it's minus 310. Not a lot of value in minus 310. Who knows what's going to happen, except just take all of the overs on whatever TJ McConnell is asked to do, because he has been amazing, win or lose. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster, and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-431-8958. That's 800-431-8958.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going,
gone! Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
We got rid of that 2 states, 1 team malarkey.
Was it really 2 states, 1 team?
Yeah, that was one of their hashtags.
Really?
2 states, 1 team.
2 states, 1 team is not good. No. I'm not saying it's not a good motto.
Right.
There's an element about 2 states, 1 team that is just not good.
The early 2000s ruined that, so...
Just stay away from 2 states, 1 team.
Yeah, the leave your mark thing, though.
That was the one they were going to...
this is what their new one they were trying to enforce.
Trial balloon popped.
Big time.
Back to keep pounding. It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Mark Packer in 20 minutes. Yesterday was his final show on the ACC network. I caught how it closed. Very Mark Packer. How it closed. Poured himself a bourbon. Took his dog.
Yep.
And went out the back door.
Turn the lights out.
Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk to Mark about the state of the league and whatever else comes up. We thank Nick Stevens last hour for sitting in for a little bit, talking about the future of high school sports. And he is leaving high school OT. Matter of fact, I think he said that his last official act was this show.
Right.
So
and on a high note, yes.
Done. Was that a high note?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Friday.
Just want to make sure.
Of course.
All right. So Mark Packer coming up in a little bit. All right. Let's run it back. We'll push the NBA Finals out just a few minutes. Let's start with the Hurricanes signing Eric Robinson. 4 years, $1.7 million. All right, so here's the way I look at it. Robinson had a strong season. Very good year. Career best, I believe, in goals and points. Valuable member of the team. Deserved, earned a contract extension. I'll be totally honest. 4 years, bit of a surprise. But I'm also not against it because he's exactly what Carolina wants in their, we'll just call him a fourth liner. But the reality is that Robinson can play up the lineup. I pointed this out earlier. You go back to the first 6 weeks of the season when Martin Necas touched the sun. If you look at when Necas started to go off on a tear, it was when they put Eric Robinson on the left wing of the line that also had Jesperi Kotkaniemi. So, did Necas go crazy because Robinson was there? I don't know. probably coincidental. But Robinson plays in such a way which allows you to get a little bit more out of good players. So would I have him, let's just say, as a second line left wing as a steady diet? No. But in terms of just changing the look, switching it up in a third period as the head coach is wont to do, Robinson has a lot of value. Good player, great guy to have around. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's an aggressive forechecker. He does exactly what this team wants an energy grinding forward to do. It's a good contract. And here's what it gives Carolina the freedom to do. Today, as we sit here right now, let me pull up their page at a website called capwages.com. Now, he is not figured into this yet because they don't move as quickly as, say, Hockey Reference or what Cap Friendly used to do, or even Puckpedia. But Robinson at 1.7 makes Carolina now at about 29.5 in terms of available money. They have 12 forwards under contract today. You can only dress, well, you could dress more, but most teams only dress 12 for a game. Throw Alexander Nikishin in there. Oh, by the way, take another $1 million off. So let's just say $28.5 million. Throw Nikishin in there because he's got a contract for next year. It's just not factored into this yet. They need one defenseman with $28.5 million to spend. That's just to fill out, let's just say, an opening night roster. One defenseman. That's it. So, Carolina can now spend their time, their mental energy, figuring out ways to spend a lot of that $28 million. And they will not spend all of it. They're going to try, but they won't. And I think they will leave themselves flexibility for during the season to become serious players at the deadline. But they can now spend the rest of this offseason figuring out ways to take what they have now and make it better. So there will be players going out. And I don't know who they will be. But as much as I love him, I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Jackson Blake go out. Again, I love the player. And I think they'll probably try to do that with a forward, maybe two. I think they'll try to add another center. I think they'll try to add another wing. I would assume Jesperi Kotkaniemi is probably being explored. Movement for him is probably being explored in some way, shape, or form. Also, because you are allowed to have more than 12 forwards on your roster, there's going to be competition for spots, competition to stay in the day-to-day lineup, or to become a healthy extra. Carolina carried one extra player pretty much all year. Usually that was on defense. So Carolina's got one spot on defense to fill. In my opinion, top-sided either a first or second right defenseman. Jalen Chatfield could play with Jacob Slavin. I've always thought he was going to be perfect for year one of Alexander Nikishin, but we'll see how it works. And so they need a right defenseman, a top, somebody who can play in your top four, play 22 or so minutes a night. They need one of those. And whether they bring back Brent Burns or not on a smaller deal, probably a one-year deal, he should not be expected to be that guy. He should be expected to slot in more along the lines of a third pair. Don't worry about what happens with Sean Walker. I don't know what happens with Sean Walker. And frankly, if you're asking me who Carolina should keep between Walker and Burns, I'd keep Walker. Burns was good, really good. But Walker's younger, a little bit more versatile, and I think has a little bit more upside to kind of fill some of what you'd lose if Brent Burns doesn't come back in terms of offensive production. I think there's another level for Sean to get to offensively. But so Carolina's got a lot of money to spend, and now it's about kind of taking the roster and tweaking it a little bit to make it better for mid to late April, into May, into June. And I like their position. Not a ton of guys available in free agency, so I like their position. I did see somebody who didn't like the deal. Hold on. I want to read it. Like Robbie a lot, good value contract. Like to see Canes load up on D and get a top. Yeah, okay. So, it's exactly what I've been saying. Outstanding. All right, let's get to a couple of other things real quick. Men's national team won a match yesterday. Second in a row. Yay. Beat Saudi Arabia 1-0. Wasn't the game I thought they'd play. They were not very good. First half, they were pretty poor. Second half, they were better. Still not great. Saudi Arabia isn't awesome. Yes, I know. They beat Argentina in their first match at the last World Cup. No joke, they did. But this team is not that team, and it was a pretty disappointing performance for Team USA, even though they won. But they won. And I do think, if you watch the match, and I did, they showed you in spots where that there are certain players that can be brought into the realm of the first 11 that can help. I think the kid from Charlotte FC, Patrick Aubameyang, was very good. He's raw, but he is very good. Malik Tillman played really well. Plays mostly centrally for PSV in the Dutch league, in the Eredivisie, but was playing, I think, off the left for the United States. Hey, if he could do that, great. Gives you another option behind Christian Pulisic. But there are some players who played yesterday. Chris Richards was excellent. I like Diego Luna, but Malik Tillman was good. I love Aubameyang. And maybe, look, there weren't a lot of shots, so maybe Matt Freese is a better option than Matt Turner. I think it's over for Matt Turner. And Mauricio Pochettino is basically has said, this is Freeze's opportunity to prove that he can do this. Again, I don't know what yesterday showed, but clean sheet, I guess. I mean, it was. It's definitely a clean sheet. All right, back to hockey real quick. Sam Bennett. What's happening with you, Sam Bennett? This is what Sam told a nightclub. By the way, did you see Nate Schmidt body surfing?
No,
crowd
I did
surfing. Not body surfing. Crowd surfing. Just in shorts and no shirt.
Okay.
But he was wearing a headband.
Oh, well, there you go.
Crowd surfing in a bar. It was phenomenal. Sam Bennett talking to fans at a nightclub.
Everyone, quiet. I hear what you're saying. I don't have much to say. Yeah, I do have one thing to say.
There you go. That was his Wolf of Wall Street moment. Sam Bennett isn't going anywhere. He's going to stay in Florida. Who knows when Florida announces that contract? My guess is Bennett and Aaron Ekblad will both sign long-term with Florida. My guess is both will be 8 years. Both will be around the same money, around between 7 and 8. Maybe Bennett's a little bit on the higher end of that. Maybe Ekblad's a little bit on the lower end of that. But ultimately, I think they'll both stay in Florida because Why would you leave? And honestly, why would Florida allow them to leave? If you're Florida, think about this. And they've got the money to spend. That's the other thing. They have money to spend on those two guys. If you're Florida, you want to play against Sam Bennett? And if you didn't have to? Here's another fun fact. In the 2014 draft, 2014, you know who the first player was taken, Victoria?
Who's that?
Aaron Ekblad.
Nice.
You know who the second player taken in the 2014 draft?
Ooh.
Sam Reinhart.
Oh, okay.
Fourth player taken in that draft.
Keeping going.
Sam Bennett.
Ah, yes, it's a theme. It's a theme.
Yeah, Ekblad was drafted by Florida. Reinhart drafted by Buffalo, traded for a first-round pick in 2022. What?
Wow.
Sam Bennett traded from Calgary to Florida in 21, I believe. Might have been 22. I think it was 21. For like 2/3 or a second and a third.
It's crazy. Stole him.
Oh my gosh.
Stole him.
Ah. All right. I'm over it now. I'm not really. I'm gonna pretend.
It's okay.
All right, we have a game 7 coming up. Indiana, Oklahoma City, in OKC for all of it. It's game 7. It is Sunday night. Indiana, after a slow 4-minute start, because 4 minutes in it was 10-2. Indiana blew their doors off. And we'll see if Oklahoma City pays for that on Sunday. When we come back, Mark Packer, formerly of the ACC Network, joins us.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Every offseason, I tell myself, don't fall for it. Don't get excited by minicamp highlights. And then you see one grainy clip from the sideline of Bryce Young throwing a deep ball to Tetaroa McMillan, and I fall for the trap every time. Tetaroa McMillan, Rookie of the Year, 10 touchdowns, book it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, Mr. Businessman. Looking to reward your staff for a great first quarter? Adam Gold here. X-Golf in Cary, right in the McGregor Village Shopping Center. Take your company party or team building event to a new level. First, the premier golf simulator in North Carolina. So much fun. Food is great. Bar's top-notch. And it's a better idea than another company polo. Plus, there's a buy one, get one special for your tee time as well. Just mention Gold and enjoy. Online at playxgolf.com/Cary, the home of premier indoor golf in North Carolina.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. A lot of people have work to do on their homes. They need a roof. They want windows, siding. You guys do everything. But people are also, I'm not sure I can afford it. The aluminum company is a great place to go. Tell us why.
Well, tons of times I'll go out to people's houses and they're thinking about doing a bunch of home improvements at once. Siding, roofing, windows are a big package, right? And the first thing they think of is, well, I'm going to need to go get an equity line or a second mortgage. One of the things we have is tons of financing options where you don't even need to go to your bank. We can do that in-house for you and run payment options for you. And lots of times the financing that we offer is a better percentage rating than you can get from your bank, and you don't have to go through all that mess to get to it.
I like that. Also, is there 12 months zero interest?
12 months, zero interest, zero payments for 12 months.
Zero payments and zero interest at the same time for 12 months.
That is correct.
That is a double header right there. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online, aluminumcompany.com.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the baron of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
This is Adam Gold.
You know, soap attracts dirt, right? That's what soap does. It attracts dirt. Right now, Bill Belichick is soap. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's soap.
Yeah.
He's attracting all this dirt.
Or he's like an overripe banana and it's attracting all these gnats.
The Adam Gold Show.
All right, we got to put a bow on this. It's been great. I had a blast. Captain, you're the best. You're the best. But my time is done here. It really is. So with that said, I'm going to add this. It's kind of like a chapter to the book, to the other stuff I have here. It's time to shut this thing down. And the only way I know to celebrate, and Mike just said it, and that is, you know how much I love the old brown water, right? It's the best. So I'm going to have a cocktail, and I'm going to salute all of you guys and wish everybody the absolute best. Right, there it is. Cheers. Again, Woodford Double Reserve. I'm getting ready to take off the headset for the last time. And I got a great wife, the best kids in the world, awesome family, great friends. I got bourbon, and I got my dog. So it's time to go. Happy trails. Again, thank you. God bless. Come on, Fuller. Let's go.
And he walked out the back door and shut the lights off.
Love it.
That is Mark Packer's way of exiting stage left, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show, the legend himself. How are you, sir?
I am good. So you like the ending. You like just turn off the lights, get the dog a bourbon, and let's hit the road, right? I mean, that's
Dude,
the way you're supposed to walk.
It was just so you. I loved every second of that. And I know you loved every second of this run. And I know there's always things that you wish you didn't have to deal with, but man, I know how much you love this league, and to be able to focus solely on this league for the last 6 years, 7 years, however long the network's been a thing, because you've been a thing with it. This really had to be kind of a dream.
It was fun. I guess it wasn't work. And same thing with you. I mean, you do the same thing. You're in the hotbed of the ACC with Duke and Carolina and State, and knowing that every day you get out of bed, there's going to be something to talk about. It was a game. It was a score. It was a coaching move. It was a bad officiating call. It's a fan base that's PO'd. It's one that's fired up. It's one that's going to win the national title. It's one that's going to fall flat on its face. There's the beauty to know that every day you get out of bed, there's going to be a blank canvas with great storylines to talk about. And Adam, you've lived the same life too. This league, and really college sports for that matter, doesn't matter if we're in the ACC, SEC, or wherever, there's always something to talk about. And, it's us idiots who get a chance to get paid to give an opinion, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. You hope it's educated and informative. But it's a great thing to do, and it was fun. But there also becomes, I think, a shelf life, at least for me, especially given the last couple of years with stuff that's happened from a personal standpoint that made it even more difficult to have fun, to talk sports. There reaches a point, at least it did for me, that, hey, it's time for me to go enjoy life. And so as much as I love the league, and I do, and college sports, as screwed up as it currently finds itself in, hopefully somewhere down the road can find some kind of stability where we can kind of enjoy it like we used to, even though it's still fun to a degree, I think. But, it just felt for me it was just time to get going. And, I'm going to be 63 in October, even though I act like I'm 23. But with my wife, again, we've got all these things that we want to do. There's things I want to do that I can't do when I'm chained to a desk every day of the week to do a 3-hour television show. And so I just reached the point where, hey, I'm ready to go see the world. I'm ready to go teach. I want to write. I love giving speeches. I mean, there's so much I want to do, but I can't do that if I'm going to continue to do the same thing day in and day out, even though I enjoyed it. So I had to just make a business decision. That's basically what it was. And so the idea, you'll get a kick out of this, everybody at ESPN was like, Pac, we want to do all this retro. And I said, BS on that. I don't want any of that. I mean, quite frankly, I hate that. I don't even like watching my own show or my own radio show. I wouldn't listen to it. So I'm like, hey, listen, y'all haven't listened to me for 6 years. Just listen to me for this one. So, for this last show, all I want is one thing. I just want the commissioner to be on. Because when we started Packer and Durham back in August of 2019, when the network launched, John Swofford was the first guest.
Right.
And John Swofford, ironically, was the first guest on SiriusXM when they decided to come up with these conference channels. And I approached the suits then and said, hey, listen, I want to do an ACC show. They were like, Pack, you're already doing a show on SiriusXM. I said, listen, the ACC, I could do this with my eyes closed with no additional prep work. Let me have it. And they said, okay, if you want to do it, who do you want to do it with? I said, I don't know. I'll come up with somebody. It was Wes. And so I called Wes, and then we did it. So even that first show, way back in whenever it was, March of 2018, for John Swofford was the first guest. So having the commissioner on to discuss the league, to me, was the ultimate guest. I don't care who it could possibly be. That's the one guy that you'd always want to talk to. So the only thing I wanted was Jim Phillips to be on that show for the last one yesterday. And he was kind enough. I know his schedule's been nuts, but he was terrific yesterday. And, it's funny too, Adam, I just got done going through a ceremony with my daughter who got married last month. And Seth Greenberg kept telling me for the last year and a half, Pack, it's the hardest walk of your life. You're going to break down. You're going to cry. You're going to do this. And I never did. I was perfectly fine. But the commissioner almost got me yesterday. I mean, he had me in a very vulnerable spot on the air yesterday when he started bringing up Billy and all that kind of stuff.
Man.
So, but I really appreciate him coming on. But it was yesterday. It felt like 1,000 pounds, quite frankly, had been lifted off my shoulders as soon as I, got my bourbon in my hand and Fuller was walking out the back door. For the first time, it felt like 1,000 pounds had been lifted from my shoulders. It really felt good.
Mark Packer is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. It says on the screen, almost former. I guess it is former. At Mark Packer on Twitter. Before I get into it's really not the commissioner, just the state of the league. The first thing you said, you're going to go see the world. What part of the world are you going to see first?
Well, the first thing is my wife and I are going to go actually in 2 weeks. This has been planned for about 6 months. I love Northern California. I love the Bay Area, and I didn't say that just because the league brought in Stanford and Cal. I know people think that, but that's not true. I love San Francisco. I love the Bay Area. I'm a huge San Francisco Giants fan. And so for 6 months, we've had this plan to go to Northern California and then go down to Carmel in Big Sur, which is just a spot for me personally. I just kind of resonate with it. I connected with it for whatever reason. It's not one of those spiritual crazy things, but there's something about that part of the world that I love. But we are going to do a bunch of international travel, which I love. I can't wait to see the world, like I said. But we're going to go in January. I told my wife 10 years ago, I said, and this is back when I was doing SiriusXM only, I said, listen, when I retire, she goes, you're never going to retire. I said, oh, yes, I am. I promise you, I do not want to do this the rest of my life. I said, but she loves tennis, and I put up with tennis. She loves it, and I put up with it. And I said, listen, when I retire, I said, we are going to go to every Grand Slam event. We're going to go to Melbourne. We're going to go to French Open. We're going to go to Paris. We're going to go to London and do Wimbledon. We've done the U.S. Open in New York and all that stuff. So the first trip, seriously, is going to be Australia. So we're going to go down to the Australian Open in January. And while we're there, we're going to do New Zealand for a week to 10 days. And we have some friends who really are world travelers who said, listen, if you go there, you might as well go to Bora Bora. So we're going to do, we're going to do Bora Bora, which I've already been working on flights, which are ridiculous.
I'm sure.
And how long it takes and how you got to get there. So we're going to do Bora Bora, we're going to do New Zealand, and we're going to do Australia. So that'll be our first 2026 trip, which will be January and parts of February. So really looking forward to that. And again, that's I just want to go see the world before I leave it. That's the game plan.
Mark Packer is joining us. All right, let's get to the league. What
a transition!
It is a tremendous transition because I believe Bora Bora State is going to be the next addition to the Atlantic Coast Conference. Auckland Tech also, I think they'll come in together. I keep bringing this up to people that maybe don't understand just how rapidly the drastic change has been in college sports. Because I remember vividly talking about, this is probably 99 or 2000, which is a long time ago, but isn't that long ago, when the ACC paid out $9 million per school at that point. There were only 9 schools in the league, Florida State being the 9th member. And they paid out $9 million per, and they were the highest paying conference. The SEC was distributing $8 million per league. Per league member. And so much has changed. Where we are now, what are your thoughts on where the ACC is as a league today?
It's kind of crazy, those numbers. I mean, really, isn't that what's about what the SEC now is paying if you rush the field? It's like $8 million. It's kind of crazy.
Right, yeah.
It's really kind of crazy to think that in those terms. That seems like 3 lifetimes ago, but it really wasn't. As far as the league goes, and I kind of mentioned this to the commish yesterday, at least it feels like there's at least some stability within the conference in the short term, and I say short term meaning the next 4 to 5 years, because I think when this next TV package comes, whatever we grew up with and whatever we perceive college sports to be is going to change forever and ever. But I think between now and then, the league is probably in as good a spot as it's been maybe since what you just talked about. I mean, there's no lawsuits. I mean, obviously the Clemson, Florida State, ACC, discrepancy has been put to rest. The TV package seems to be locked and loaded with ESPN, of course, agreeing on through 2036. So there's some stability within the league. Can they catch the SEC or the Big Ten? I don't know why anybody thinks they can. I mean, everybody keeps talking about this money grab. It's like, it's not like the league is going broke. It's not like the Big 12 is going belly up. These leagues are making a ton of cash. In fact, the league has never made more money. So everybody always says, hey, well, the bars, the SEC, they're playing by a different set of rules based on their new television contract. So I'm not sure that's even feasible to think that you can catch them. The object is to make sure you're not last. It's like if you're being chased by a bunch of lions. I mean, hey, I don't have to be the fastest guy. I got to make sure I'm not the slowest dude, right? So the league has kind of proven that it's not the slowest dude running from a pack of lions. But it doesn't mean it's perfect. And in some respects, what the league has to do is start winning games.
Yes.
I mean, this is true in men's basketball and football. I mean, the league has never had a problem scheduling big-time games. That is not a problem. In fact, it may do the best job of anybody in terms of, hey, let's go play somebody, games of note. But at some point in time, you have to start winning those games. You can't sit there and say, well, we're 2-14 in the ACC-SEC challenge, and everything is good because by the time we get to March, we should get 8 teams in. It doesn't work that way. So you got to start winning, and there's got to be a commitment from the top down. And, you're going to find out now with this NCAA House settlement who's in the mood, right? Who is in the mood to say we want to be relevant when it comes to college sports? And that's what we're getting ready to find out.
Mark Packer is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Here's a criticism I have of the league. I don't know how much money they paid to Deloitte to come and go to the ACC meetings, and whether it's at Amelia Island or wherever they are, and give them advice on basketball scheduling, and somehow that advice involved North Carolina and North Carolina State not playing twice. I don't, for the life of me, understand why we can't say, all right, we're not playing everybody, because there are teams that will not play each other during the course of the college basketball season within league play. They've gone from 20 to 18, which I think was smart. But if there's going to be a team we can't play, why can't there be 2 teams we don't play, so we can make sure that NC State and UNC always play each other twice? For schools that don't necessarily have the 2 teams we've got to play, okay. The SEC has schedules that don't involve automatic we must play games. Why can't the ACC think a little bit outside the box here?
Well, I think it takes 2, and I'm with you with what you just said. But I think it takes 2 to tango a little bit. You know, if NC State and Carolina were really interested in playing too, they could. We kind of see this in football. If I'm not mistaken, I think like NC State and Virginia are playing they're playing this fall, and that's a quote-unquote non-conference game. We've had North Carolina and Wake for multiple years play non-conference games. I'm not sure why you couldn't do that in hoops.
I mean, they could. I just think that's kind of silly, but I'm not a fan of it in football.
Game, yeah, I get it. I understand. But if you want the game, and certainly there will be interest. I mean, Will Wade just last week guaranteed you that your job is in great shape come basketball season, because he's going to stir. And I think it's great. I mean, I think the league desperately needed some personality of some people that, quite frankly, just don't care if you're pissed off about it. I'm here to kick your rear end, and what are you going to do about it? So I think it's great. But it's going to take 2 to tango. Like if North Carolina and NC State were so outraged for, say, hey, you guys, you could straighten this out. We got a conference game. We'll go play another one in a non-conference game. Let's go. And guess what? It'd help your strength of record if you're both as good as you think you're going to be. So, this scheduling thing gets complex. Well, listen, when you have 18 teams in your league, this is not me and you going back to the good old days of the ACC going, hey, you're coming to my house, I'm coming to yours, we're going to have a good time, life's good. It's complex. Scheduling is hard. And I do think going back to 18 makes a ton of sense. It does give you some flexibility. But like I said, much like the House settlement dollars, it's going to be interesting to see how each school determines what is in their best interest. And that would be true from a scheduling perspective. It's also going to be true from a monetary standpoint, where they determine, hey, what are we going to earmark for football? What's going to basketball? What's going to baseball? Women's sports, where does that fall? Olympic sports, do we care? I mean, so every school is going to be different, and that's true with the dollars, and it's certainly true in scheduling.
Mark Packer is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What are your thoughts on Bill Belichick and the whole UNC football experience now?
I love it. Said it the day he was hired that North Carolina is going to become instantly the ultimate college football reality show, and that's already happened before we got the kickoff, for crying out loud. After watching CBS Sunday Morning, and I didn't even know. You know what's funny, Adam? I didn't even know that story was coming on. I had it on television, like background noise. I was working on something, and I didn't even know he was coming on. And then the next thing you know, I said, that sounds like Bill Belichick. And sure enough, I got up and I sat down. And as soon as I saw the interview, I went, oh, God. I mean, this is great for idiots like us.
Yeah.
But this was not what North Carolina was looking for. I mean, you can't show up getting paid $10 million a year and wearing, a Goodwill Industries Navy sweatshirt. That doesn't quite work. But listen, he's a great football coach. We all know that. But how is it going to equate on Saturdays? I have no idea. But it is going to be must-watch television, and that starts with TCU in that first game. And, they've got a brand-new roster. I've known Michael Lombardi for 100 years. He's a really smart guy, and he and Bill obviously work hand-in-hand, so that will be a great combination. But, if you tell me they go 9-3 or if they go 4-8, I'd go, yeah, okay, well, that doesn't surprise me one way or the other. So I think their schedule's conducive. Quite frankly, if you're a North Carolina fan, you could not have really scripted a better conference schedule. They've got a chance to win a bunch of games. if it clicks. But I don't know what it's going to look like. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I've said this before, and I've received some pushback. I think there will be more attention paid to UNC football this year than any football program in college ever, because Belichick he attracts eyeballs automatically. Everybody wants to see, both pro and college wants to see if this is going to work. And there's a reason why UNC versus TCU, two teams that would not otherwise be considered national television draws, were moved to Monday night, Labor Day night. Everybody is going to want to watch this, good or bad.
Right.
People are going to want to watch this.
Yeah, and people, I mean, listen, there's going to be a lot of people rooting for him because, hey, Bill Belichick's great.
Yeah.
This is an awesome thing for – there are going to be a lot of folks hoping he gets his rear end kicked, that, hey, you know what, that's right, that damn Sunday football, it does, this is college. I mean, so I get it. That's the beauty. That's why I said it's going to be the ultimate college football reality show, because people who normally couldn't find Chapel Hill on the map will suddenly on Saturday go, hey, how did Belichick do today? I mean, it's kind of like when Dion went out to Boulder. You're thinking, all right, here's Coach Prime, and he's going to shake up the lineup, and he's all about swag and all that. People are paying attention to him. It turns out he's a pretty good football coach. He knows what he's doing. Whether you like his style or not, that's a totally separate issue. So, again, I think it's great for the league. It's great for Carolina. And much like our conversation earlier here today and also with the commissioner yesterday, the bottom line is you got to win. Right? I mean, they can't go 6-6. Everybody go, well, it's great that we're going to the dogatmyhomework.com bowl. Nobody cares about all that stuff. You got to win. And so from literally the first game when, TCU comes out in Chapel Hill, you're going to pay attention. That's a very important game right from the get-go for not only Carolina and Bill Belichick, but also for the conference.
By the way, flights, Mark Packer, from Charlotte to Bora Bora.
I got it.
Round trip.
Got it.
Oh, you already got it?
Oh, I got it.
All
Listen, we're going Charlotte.
Not that bad.
No, I'm not telling you. I'm going Charlotte to L.A., and then I've got like a 5-hour delay, and then I go L.A. to Tahiti, and we're going to have one of those trips where you can sleep on the plane, I hope. And then when you get off to Tahiti, we have like a 3-hour delay, and then you fly into Bora Bora, which is a 50-minute flight.
Beautiful.
So I'm all over it. I'm all over it.
Oh, man, I'm envious of you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Anytime.
I will. If you ever want to talk ACC sports,
listen. I am. You know me. It's like yesterday. You sent me a text. I'm in. Listen. What else do I have to do until I got 8,000 things to do? So
you have that Woodford Reserve you got to finish.
Oh, dude! And by the way, I screwed that up yesterday. I was so excited to get out the door. That's Woodford Reserve Double Oak. I think I called it Woodford Double Reserve or something. I was just excited to, number one, sip it, and number two, get out the door with my dog Fuller. So, but that stuff is gold. And again, they're not paying me for it. I wish they were. But that is a nice sip. That's a good. If you're just looking to chill out, I normally put one ice cube in it, but I went neat yesterday. But man, that is an outstanding sample of brown water.
Good for you, Mark Packer. I appreciate your time, man. Enjoy what's next, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Adam. Be good. Enjoy the weekend. Take care.
You got it. Mark Packer here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, we'll come back. We got to stretch. We got to place bets. We got stuff to do. And we can't drink any Woodford Reserve Double Oak.
And I don't have Biff here either, so.
Oh, man. Earl's jealous.
If we could bring our dogs into work, that'd be great.
I've seen dogs here.
I know.
Earl would just kind of stand here begging me to pet him.
Same for Biff.
Earl. All right, we'll be right back.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome to the weekend. It is time to dig in at the plate for all of your Major League Baseball action. If you're a hitting aficionado, we've got hits, total bases, home runs. Love anytime home run hitters. Maybe pitching is your thing. How about strikeouts? Total outs recorded. Either way, don't get caught looking. Pardon the pun. New customers, $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
HIV is not a crime, or it shouldn't be.
It's time for the laws to catch up to science.
Join the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation to modernize outdated HIV criminalization laws. Go to etaf.org. Campaign funded through the support of Gilead Sciences, Incorporated.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Because if interrupting is part of the talent, then she wins.
Giving an RBF face? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everybody saw it.
I didn't say it. I
that picture
did not say that.
When they were asking Bill and she interrupts him and they look at her, that's evil. Like,
yeah.
I was waiting for the lights to come out of her pupils.
You're not wrong.
The Adam Gold Show.
Here we are. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria is on the ones and twos. It is the first day of summer, according to, I don't know, whoever Victoria decided it was according to.
Google.
Google.
Yeah.
Google. All right.
Yeah. So, and Google knows everything. So.
All right. Apparently, Cheryl Reeve, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, is she still the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx? She is very mad at Christine Brennan.
Why?
Our friend Christine Brennan, who was on the show Monday.
Yes.
Basically called criticism of her from in Christine Brennan's book on her game about Caitlin Clark. Said what she wrote was fiction.
Okay.
That's fine. I mean,
to each their own, I guess.
The war of words has begun.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to stretch?
You know what? I forgot to try the thing that I mentioned yesterday during our 7th inning, but I'm going to do it. Yesterday I was wearing a dress, so it's not really appropriate anyway, but I have pants on today, so I'll probably try
We have shorts on.
Yes.
I have shorts on today, too.
Right, yes, so that's better, but if you missed that, you
Summer
should check it
starts
out.
today.
Yesterday, I had an article about whether you might die in the next 10 years if you can pass this test. However, we've talked about today being the first day of summer. It is the summer solstice, which takes place tonight exactly at 10:42 p.m.
Okay, so it can change. The date can change. I thought it was like 21st.
Yeah,
always.
I mean, I know. I thought so too. I knew it
says
was
here,
the end of June, but
20th, 21st, or 22nd.
Oh, take your pick.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Well, this article said very specifically at 10:42 tonight, Eastern Time, marks the moment that the Earth tilts most towards the sun, giving people living in the Northern Hemisphere the longest day and shortest night of the year. So there you go.
The days get shorter starting tomorrow.
And that's the other half of this, is that now the days are going to get shorter. And then we'll reach our peak of short days December 21st, where it gets dark at 3 p.m. So...
Right.
So we have that to look forward to. But right now, soak it up. Do, grill out, go by the pool, whatever. Be outside, walk the dog. But it's the longest day. Also, with summer, I was reading just different little facts about summer, and I thought, there ain't no way I do this. Maybe you do this at your house. But what do you set your thermostat on during the summer?
74.
Woo!
In the house, 74.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
74 in the summer, 68 in the winter.
Okay, yeah, makes adjustments. Well, according to MarthaStewart.com, they say the ideal temperature for indoors is 70, which that's my preference, is 70. But they say if you want to save money and not crash the grid, as they say, the ideal setting is 78 degrees.
Who?
What? Never.
Okay, so it's 74.
Right.
I am telling you, if it's 74 and a half, I can tell.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I believe it, because when I go to my parents' house, they keep it warmer, and
Do
I'm
they?
like
Yeah.
dying. Nope. Mm-mm.
It's so hot outside. 74 actually feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's not that bad. When
No,
you're
it's
outside
good.
and you come in, it's not that
Yeah.
bad. Doesn't feel like a freezer.
No, not at all. And in the winter we keep it at 68.
Yeah, but I don't mind that so much because you can add clothes. But it also said that each degree above 75 saves about 3% on your energy bill. Okay. And you sweat your face off the whole summer too. So there's that. But yeah, no, I can't do that. And then it also says, this little poll says that most people's favorite season is summer. So a lot of people are happy right now, which I agree.
What is your favorite season?
I'm a big fall fan. I do like summer because, swimming, but I love fall. It leads into all the holidays, spooky season. So I'm a big fan of that one. But you know what else I'm a big fan of? Making good bets.
Place your bets, Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
Did I get any right yesterday? That was wrong. I don't know what the final score of the Braves and the Mets were, but I had Atlanta minus 1.5 over 8.5. So if that covered, that was plus 327.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I had Inter Miami winning.
Oh.
Inter Miami beating Porto yesterday, 2-1.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that was a good one. Plus 290.
Oh, there you go. See, the only one I got was the Cardinals and the White Sox taking the Cardinals to win over 9.5. Those plus 135. My Cubs did not. But however, we're going to change things up today, and they are going to win.
All right.
So I'm taking the Cubs. They're playing Seattle, still in Chicago. Give me them to win. Please and thank you. I'm going to go over 9.5, and that's plus 215.
All right. We're only doing Club World Cup soccer. That's it.
Okay.
I don't care about the basketball game Sunday. I care, but I've been wrong at every one. So we're moving off of it. There's nothing else going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start. And this game starts in a few minutes. Flamengo from Brazil's Serie A and Chelsea. The South American teams really care about this event. Plus 260 to win. Flamengo.
Okay.
Over Chelsea.
All right. Well, I would have done all 3 UFC ones, but I cannot pronounce these people's names because it's in Baku. So there's a lot of names that are questionable, but I do know this one. Curtis Blades is going to be taking on, I think it's Rizvan Kuniev.
Sounds
potentially.
good.
Let's go Curtis Blades with his extra reach to win by knockout. That's plus 145.
Curtis Blades sounds more like a speed skater to me. LAFC against Sporting Tunisia, basically. LAFC to win plus 110.
Last but not least, the main event is between Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree. I like Roundtree in this one. This is basically a pick-em. They're both minus 110, but give me Roundtree to win by the points, plus 800.
Boca Juniors plays in the Argentinian League. As I mentioned before, the South American sides really care. Really care. Boca Juniors, Bayern Munich, draw. Plus 450.
We love a draw.
We do. By the way, Canada plays tonight in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. They'll win big as well. The United States won yesterday. They advanced. They play on Sunday against Haiti, but they have already booked a spot in the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Yippee. Wall of Sound. A lot of stuff from last night's basketball game next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, and you have decided to take the plunge. You are going to buy that summer cottage on the lake, somewhere where it's cooler than it is where we live. But you don't want to pay closing costs because you shouldn't have to. You should be able to relax. Take that $5,000, roughly what closing costs are, and spend it on patio furniture. A really cool hammock with an automatic beverage dispenser. I made that up, but I'm not making this up. Miller Lending, home of the original no closing cost mortgage that will allow you to keep more of your own money and don't give it to those nasty banks. Miller Lending, allowing homeowners to keep thousands of dollars of their own money since 1987. That's what Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage, brought it to the Triangle in 1996. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Every offseason, I tell myself, don't fall for it. Don't get excited by minicamp highlights. And then you see one grainy clip from the sideline of Bryce Young throwing a deep ball to Teteroa McMillan, and I fall for the trap every time. Teteroa McMillan, Rookie of the Year, 10 touchdowns, book it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time.
Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
They don't hit a ton of home runs. You don't have to here. Anything else they do is good. They've been hit by pitch more than anybody else in the country. They force you to be uncomfortable on the mound. They force you to be uncomfortable defensively when on the base pass. They have the second best ERA in the entire country. And I'll tell you what I love about the finals is it's best on best now. You can both set your rotations up exactly the way that you want to. Bullpens will be ready. So it's Coastal best on LSU best, and they've got 2 days to rest up.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Coastal's in the College World Series Championship Series, right? Starts tomorrow. Go Clears. Who are they playing? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm rooting against whoever they're playing. Go Chanticleers. Birds, right? Chanticleer is a bird.
We'll go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Whatever.
We'll do it.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like once Carolina and Duke were out.
Yeah.
Bye.
I know.
I'm just done.
Yeah.
I got too many other things going on in my world. I got to narrow. We got to narrow the focus. We got to narrow the focus. The fact that the Hurricanes signed Eric Robinson to a 4-year, $1.7 million annual contract today, and it gives them 12 signed forwards, 5 signed defensemen, 2 signed goalies, which means that in terms of filling out a roster, they only need 1 more defenseman. If you were slotting things properly, it would be either a first or second pair right-sided defenseman. That's what they are in need of. Somehow that was construed by some on Twitter, because Twitter sucks, that Carolina only needs a right-handed defenseman and they're fine. Like, no. What my point is that now that you've basically signed a roster of players, now it's about making that roster better. So there might be players who have to go. And the Hurricanes will be bringing in players. Theoretically, they would sign a center. Well, you've already got Aho and Stahl and Kokaniemi and Jankowski. Well, you're not going to play 5 centers, so if you bring a center in, one of them will have to leave the lineup. Maybe that player will go on a trade somewhere, but one of them will have to leave the lineup. So they're going to bring in, my guess is, 2 more forwards. Preferably one would be a center. One or both of them would be goal scorers. One or both of them would play with a level of abrasion. Some, what did Rod Brindamore say? We have too many nice guys?
Yes, guys that you could marry your daughter.
You would be okay with them marrying your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But that's what he said. And he's right.
Yeah.
And he's right. My wife puts it in this term. Too many clean necklines. My wife is a hairdresser.
Yep.
It's like she wants to see
Scraggle.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mountain Man.
Flow.
Yep.
Some flow.
Crazy.
Anyway, they do. They need a level of that. And I haven't decided whether or not they need a top offensive right shot defenseman, or would you go for somebody who was a little bit bigger, meaner, tougher, defensive-minded? I mean, if Florida wants to screw it up and not sign Aaron Ekblad, I think Carolina should go after him. See what happens. Free agency begins July 1.
Yeah.
So I believe that's a week from Tuesday. I think that's a week from Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because July 4 is Friday.
It is.
So
yes.
So Tuesday, July 1st, expect a lot of movement around the league, whether it's trades, because I think you'll see a lot of trades. And that's really where I think Carolina is going to improve the most, is via trade. Rod also correctly pointed out that I talk about this a lot. The biggest improvement will come from within. So before we get to the wall of sound, and we're going to talk about this in some respects with EJ Raddick and Ben Seltzer. We're going to do a little bit of a roundtable on hockey today in the normal roundtable spot. Like, what is Andrei Svechnikov this year? He has to be better than the regular season version last year.
Hope so.
We want Sebastian Aho to be better this year. Seth Jarvis takes another step. Jackson Blake takes another step. We'll see, what it all looks like, but Carolina's got a lot of things that they can do, that they should do in this offseason. Are we ready for the wall of sound?
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Also, I looked it up. It's LSU. Coastal Carolina.
It's Coastal LSU.
Yes.
Very nice.
That's who they're playing.
So more Livy Dunn. All right, so that'll keep some segment of the population tuned in. All right, let's get to NBA Finals talk. Tyrese Halliburton, he started last night for Indiana, played well, 21 points, I think 6 assists, but recognizes that the bench is really what makes Indiana dangerous.
All year, we've just preached how important depth is to our success. I feel like we've really believed in our second group. They've been able to come in and pick up the energy when it's needed, when we're having good games, continue, to keep the energy flowing. Obviously, TJ and Obi are kind of the head of that snake off the bench, and we just got so many different guys that can chip in, and that's the thing about, the NBA and the playoffs is you never know when your number is going to be called, and we have so many guys that are prepared, for that moment.
McConnell had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals in 22 minutes. Silly. TJ McConnell is silly in the playoffs. It will be interesting if a bench player can win NBA Finals MVP. We'll see what happens in Game 7 on Sunday. Jalen Williams, not a bench player for Oklahoma City, had 40 in Game 5, didn't have 40. I mean, it wasn't bad, but he wasn't the same. He was 0 for 4 from three-point range, so the numbers were not gaudy. Recognizes just how hard it is to win it all.
I think we had the right mindset coming into it. I think there was different things that we didn't do in the game well that hurt us, but closing out in the finals is different from playoff game because it's the end of the season. You know what I mean? And you play for so long that it just has more weight to it. Obviously, you want to win a championship, and you don't want it to feel like it was all for nothing. So that's been the biggest difference between like closing out now as opposed to like a Denver series or Minnesota. And I feel like they probably felt that way too. Like for them being down 3-2, knowing that your season's like on the line and you're in the finals just has more weight to it.
Look, it's not easy to win, but boy, did Oklahoma City seem like they kind of just allowed Indiana to happen. Like they just didn't have anything for them yesterday. I hope it doesn't come back to bite them because I keep saying it. I think they're the better team. But, all right, Tim Legler, ESPN analyst, on how the Pacers appeared to him.
Yeah, I sensed it, a seriousness about their team, and I think what it really took was that emotional lift that Tyrese Halliburton gave them. We were all waiting and wondering, what's he going to look like? You start to get news before the game. When you and I were standing right there, he was working out, making threes in front of us. You still don't know if that means he's going to be a threat once the game starts. Clearly, he was early, enough of a threat. I think that is really what kind of lifted the pressure cooker off this place. They knew that he was going to be out there. He was going to be a factor. He started moving better and better as the first half wore on.
The Pacers are good, legitimately good. Pascal Siakam had another big game as well. All right, let's just close the wall of sound on this. Sam Bennett's Wolf of Wall Street moment at a nightclub in Florida talking to fans.
Everyone, quiet. I hear what you're saying. I don't have much to say. Yeah, I do have one thing to say.
So good. Good for Sam. And Florida will be smart to keep both Bennett and Aaron Ekblad. And that will come up in the roundtable. EJ Raddick from NHL Network and Ben Seltzer, who we ran the numbers with all playoffs long. We will hash it out over the best team of the salary cap era and then talk about the Canes moving forward. Next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
Kick out to Toppin. He'll take the three. He'll miss it with 2 seconds to go. Out to Shepard. Three at the horn. Good! 30-point lead for the Pacers. 3/4 in the books and trying to force Game 7 Sunday night.
The Stanley Cup Finals and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Walking into work today, I had two thoughts. It would either be a gorgeous day to be at the pool or spending the day getting lost on a motorcycle. I'm Victoria Vodenecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and when there is not a cloud in the sky, all the flowers have bloomed, the humidity isn't at its most miserable, that is a day I would consider perfect for riding. But unfortunately, things don't always go perfectly on the roads, even when you're prepared and aware. So if you're ever in an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, always remember to call my friends at Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they understand. They get the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you've made, and what it's like to go through an accident. Case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Tim Donnelly here, and for this Men's Health Month, we are talking with Dr. Jonathan Chappell, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon from Wake Orthopedics. Doctor, we've now learned that tendon injuries, fractures, are a little more common in men. How can they work to prevent those injuries and protect their bones and joints?
Well, we can never completely eliminate these injuries. Certainly they're going to happen in the sports that we play and we enjoy, and it's important to have those sports in our life for mental and physical health. But preventing these injuries comes down in most cases for men with the lack of flexibility. So focusing on a stretching program, working on core strengthening, some simple physical therapy exercises, and then things like maintaining a good healthy body weight are really important. So that steady dad bod creep we see in our 30s and 40s, trying to avoid that and maintain your flexibility are probably the biggest issues, I would say.
For more information on men's health this Men's Health Month and around the calendar, please visit wakemed.org. Once again, that is wakemed.org.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good
yeah.
aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Oh, welcome to summer. It is the start of summer. Why not think about hockey? Yes, that's what we're doing. And it's roundtable time at the same time.
Camelot. It's only a model.
Yes! Ben Seltzer's in studio. We run the numbers. We have been doing that all playoffs long. And EJ Radick from NHL Network. We cannot get enough. And I know EJ and Ben work together. So I'm glad to bring you guys together again. EJ, how was your experience? Before we get into the topic of discussion, how was your experience with Kevin Weeks? What
I thought you were going by me.
No. Ben is scarred about something. How was your experience doing the international games with Kevin?
I love working with Kevin. We do the international broadcasts. We do the NHL Network Showcase games together a lot. We started the season. He brought it up. He said we started the season together in Czech, in Prague for Devils and Sabres, and then we finished the season, as it turned out, in Florida with the Panthers and the Oilers. So he's a joy, fun to work with. I know certainly a guy that I would imagine is still well received in Carolina as part of the team that went to the final in 2002.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he wasn't the person who coined the phrase Raleighwood when he was here in 2002. And by the way, he was a pretty good goaltender. So
yes, he was.
And in 2002, he was dynamite. All right, so the question that we have been asking, and this is where we're going to start with the roundtable. In the salary cap era, which was the best team? And we're not talking about an individual team for a singular year, but there are, I think, 5 clubs that have won multiple. Right. Like we had Florida, who just repeated. Yep. Tampa repeated in 20 and 21. Pittsburgh in 16 and 17. Chicago won 3 times in a 6-year span. And in the midst of that, the Kings won 2 out of 3. Yeah. So of those 5 clubs, EJ, which was the best?
Well, I mean, it's a challenging task to say who was the best, right? Because hockey is it's a game of matchups, and whereas one team might be better than the next, and onward we march in that direction. I mean, it's tricky, but I am going to fall victim to recency bias. I think the Florida Panthers, what they've done over these last couple of years, I think that puts them at the top. And, the fact that, they led in the Stanley Cup final for close to 256 minutes of the final. That's the most a team has had a lead in the Stanley Cup final ever. So that's one of the big things. In the playoffs, in these last playoffs, they've had the lead. I think the number was almost 748 minutes.
Yeah.
They scored 94 goals this year in the postseason. That puts them in a tie with the 84 Oilers and the 83 Islanders, which are some pretty good company. They scored 5 goals or more in 13 different times in the playoffs, second only to the 81 Islanders, tied with the 83 Islanders. I mean, they just have all kinds of different numbers that are really, really impressive. And, they did benefit. Let's face it. The cap has gone up, and, it's going to continue to go up, and it's going to go up big this year. So, that could benefit them in terms of maybe winning again next year.
Yep.
Because they will have some advantages that some of those earlier teams did not have. Now, having said all that, when I think about matchups of those teams that we mentioned, I would love to see them play against the LA Kings teams from, 12 and 14. Because I think matchup-wise, Kopitar versus Barkov to start, Quick versus Bobrovsky. I think you got some really interesting matchups there. They're teams that kind of play a little bit similar. I think that could be a hell of a series.
Yeah, I think the Kings were amazing. The Kings' versatility on the blue line, too, was absolutely amazing. So I'll give you my answer in a minute, but I will say this. I think EJ's right. Ben Seltzer.
It's 2 versus 1 here. I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting Florida either because I did not know what EJ's answer was going to be, but I think he did get the right answer. Ben, your answer is?
I'm going with Tampa in the 2020 and 2021. I mean, my ultimate trump card is Andrei Vasilevsky. The guy is unreal.
Yep.
2021, Conn Smythe, his 2 runs, he was 14-0 following a loss. 951 save percentage. In the 2021 run alone, when he won the Conn Smythe, the closeout games, all shutouts. 98 shots faced, 98 saves. That's really impressive. And also, let me give you some trophies for him. 2 cups, 2 first-team All-Star selections, a Vezina, Conn Smythe, all by the age of 27. The only 2 goalies to do that besides Vasilevsky and
Waugh?
Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh.
That's pretty good company.
That is very good company.
So I would take Vasi over Bob, over Marc-Andre Fleury, Matt Murray.
Over Corey Crawford? Kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Corey Crawford was
It's
fine.
close. It's close.
Corey Crawford was close. I had Tampa second on the list. Vasilevsky, the Hall of Famers all over the place. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think Florida has a bunch of guys who are borderline. Barkov's going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, Kachuk, Bob.
Bobrovsky's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think Matthew is kind of in the borderline category.
Hey, Matthew, he started this run.
Right, but in terms of he had some productive years in Calgary, but he's got a long way to go. But Vasilevsky, Kucherov, Stamkos, who didn't play a huge role, right?
That should add to my argument here.
Right, but Stamkos, Hedman, I think Braden Point is trending in that direction as well.
Certainly.
Not to mention Ryan McDonough, Mikhail Sergachev, who was as good a third defenseman as you're ever going to have. And
that
they played
top
them in
4,
3. They were tremendous.
Hedman, Sergachev, McDonough, Chernak. That's scary.
It is very scary.
Yeah.
Here's my only argument against it, EJ. I want your thoughts on this, and this is not necessarily a knock on Tampa, Florida. What they had to go through to get to where they are in terms of the playoffs. Tampa played that bubble hockey thing. They didn't have to play a road game at all. Everything was antiseptic, and so I almost want to kick the year out, but I wouldn't. And then to play Montreal in the Stanley Cup Finals in 21, who was the 17th best team in the NHL that year, based on points, because we all understand that was the crazy year. I always refer to it as the crazy pandemic central. Carolina won that division that year, but they were not as good as Tampa. We all knew that. Is that a fair criticism? It's not really a criticism. It's sort of like, yeah, but I guess. Is that fair or unfair, EJ?
I think it's fair. I think it's just the reality of what happened, right? We can sit here and pretend that, like, they didn't play a 56-game season where they only played 7 other teams, but
Kucherov was out all season.
That's what happened. Yeah, there were things that just happened. It's unfortunate. This is a great team. You know, Ben makes some great points, and the Tampa Bay Lightning were a great team. And again, I have to say, the think about in that era when the cap was really squished because of the revenues and the pandemic, Julian Brisebois was limited to what he could have done. Now this year in Florida, for example, now they had Matthew Tkachuk goes out of the lineup. They have cap space. They were able to add Marchand and Jones. I mean, Marchand, you talk about Hall of Famers. Marchand's going to be a Hall of Famer, whether people like it or not.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer, right? He checks every single box, so he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And, you know, Seth Jones, as we watched in the playoffs, I was a huge Seth Jones fan when he was a junior. I called the games in 2013 during the World Junior Championships with Team USA, and he was magnificent in that. You know, he was in Nashville, he was in Columbus, then he went to Chicago. I really didn't love the idea of that he kind of forced his way to Chicago, which made no sense for a team that was, you know, looking into a rebuild. But he got himself out of there, and Bill Zito, who knew him from Columbus, and watching him in the Cup final, I remembered why I love this guy so much. He was just a big, long, athletic, bright player, and he was able just to be himself there. So, I mean, they were able to add 2 big pieces because the cap was higher, and they had it wasn't necessarily good fortune, but it was a break, and that Tkachuk was out, and they had the cap space, and give them credit, they went out and took a shot at it. But, I don't think you can, like, Adam, to your point, I think the reality is the reality that Tampa won those 2 cups in years where there were different circumstances. I don't write them off, and listen, they're still a great team, but the question was, who do we think was the best?
Right.
And Chicago won 3 times, and I talked to Joel Quenneville just yesterday, and he said, "Hey, listen, we had great players. If we could get to the net," he goes, "it would have been hard against Florida." He goes, "but if our guys could get to the net and they got to the net a lot, we have a chance to win. Maybe we couldn't. You'll never know." But most people I talk to in the hockey world, they're very impressed. I mean, the Florida Panthers roster, as it is nearly a perfect roster right now. I mean, they're 3 lines deep, where their third line is the first line on a third of the league.
Yep. You're 100% right. That's why you're correct. That's why you got the right answer, EJ. They are. The Florida Panthers are the best team.
Can I have a quick rebuttal with 2021 here?
Still fight it. Yeah.
Montreal, they earned the right to go to the Stanley Cup final. They beat Toronto. They were down 3-1.
How hard is it to beat Toronto?
They came back from 3-1 down. They beat Vegas in the conference semifinal that year.
That was a shock.
Yeah. Let's give them a little credit instead of writing them off.
2 best teams in the league that year in terms of points were Vegas and Colorado, and they were in the same division.
And Montreal took care of 1.
Yes, they did.
Let's not water it down too much.
Yeah, Eric Stahl, by the way, was on that team.
He was?
I love Eric Stahl.
Yeah. It was a good run for him.
By the way, I ranked them Florida 1, Tampa 2, the Kings 3, Chicago 4, and the Penguins 5. You had Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Kessel, Marc-Andre
HBK
Fleury,
line.
right? Yeah. So and they were the 5th best team of that group. EJ Raddick, did you? I'm sure you at this point have heard Sam Bennett doing the Wolf of Wall Street moment at the nightclub in Florida. I don't see any way Florida lets Bennett or Ekblad walk in free agency. Do you?
Well, I think the Ekblad one is the interesting one because of the fact that they have Seth Jones and they have him under contract at a very reasonable number because Chicago is, eating, I guess, $1.5 million, I think, in each of the final years of that deal. So that's the question is, can they come to an agreement on term and dollars with Ekblad? It's a tricky one because you'd love to keep him. And like for Aaron, he was the first overall pick. He's been in Florida through the bad times and the good times, and it's where he lives. And but if he were to go on the open market, I mean, right shot defenseman with 2 Stanley Cups on the resume that can play in physical hard games are attractive to a lot of teams. So it's really going to be, does Aaron want to try to make some kind of deal where he sacrifices money for term? And, does one of those type of deals, Gustav Forsling did an unbelievable deal from the Florida Panthers standpoint and did something along those lines. I think that's what it would have to be because if Ekblad goes to market, I mean, there are going to be teams that are going to offer, I think, a substantial amount of money. For Bennett, all I've heard for the last 4 weeks is that he's staying in Florida.
Yeah.
And then he made that proclamation, albeit maybe in a state in which he was not in full control of his faculties, but he did make that public proclamation. So we'll see. But, I mean, everything I've heard is that he's staying there. And, I mean, he's been such a big part of what they've done there. And again, the cap is going up. These are things that benefit teams. The Hawks didn't have that benefit. Other teams, Tampa was really squeezed in their era. Pittsburgh had some challenges. I mean, teams had to move guys out after they won. So, think about Chicago. They had to move out a bunch of guys after they won their first cup in 2010. So they've got a little more room to play with. Bill Zito has been an extremely shrewd evaluator of everything. I think he has been almost perfect in all the moves he's made since he's been there. So I think Bennett stays. As for Marchand and Ekblad, I think they're going to try to keep them. We'll see if it happens.
I don't think they can keep all three. I don't think the numbers can possibly work. But EJ Raddick, Ben Seltzer, both with us here in the roundtable. I think there should be a team that lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, that should be interested in definitely interested in Aaron Ekblad. If he goes to market, definitely. And I would argue that same team should be interested in Brad Marchand if he goes to market.
Winners.
I believe they both will. So would that be?
Yeah. Well, listen, I cannot argue with that, Adam. You were there in, as Kevin Weeks once said, Raleighwood.
Yeah.
And so, I think those things are on the table. We'll see if ownership and management feels the same way you do, if those guys do become available and if the numbers are right. But I think you're right. I mean, especially someone like Marchand would be really interesting there. He would give, I think, the Carolina Hurricanes a different kind of personality that they haven't had, particularly in the playoffs. So, we'll see. But they still got to fill that 2C hole to me. And they've also got to kind of maybe address the goaltending in a little different fashion, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, they're both under contract. Freddie Anderson and Pyotr Kochetkov are under contract for next year. If they brought in another goalie, my guess is they would have to include Pyotr in some sort of a deal. I mean, they would have to do that. And that's fine. I mean, Pyotr's got a friendly contract. He'd never clear waivers because he's got 2 more years left at $2 million per. Somebody would take a run at that because the high end is high.
Sure.
Like when he's on. Ben, what else do you have written down there, Ben?
I just have a bunch of things about Tampa.
He always has stuff written down, EJ. You know that.
I come prepared.
Listen. Ben is a great person first and foremost. Yes. And second of all, he's a terrific researcher, and he's always looking for the different numbers, the different angles, the different topics. And he helped us for years and years at the NHL Network, and I'm really happy that he's got a lifestyle move to come down to Carolina, and now you're benefiting out of it. So that's good news.
Exactly. All right,
Checks in the mail.
Can Elias Lindholm still play, EJ?
Yeah, I think he can still play, but I think he's really a third center at this stage from what I've seen. And, he's getting paid as really a 2C or a 1B. And, it's never good when a player is paid more than what he is. I mean, the players are all good. Like he's a great player. He's played in the league. He's a really good player. The contracts are the things that, you worry about. Luckily, the cap is going up. We'll see where things go with him and, in Boston, but it wasn't a good first year for him for sure. And, he took a step back. But, really, when you think about it, Adam, I mean, last year, the Boston Bruins, it was kind of a train wreck of a season.
Yeah.
And it was his first year there, and they made a coaching change. Like, he's one of those guys that if somebody took a shot at him, and let's say Boston wanted to move him and they would eat a little of it, you don't get good players when they're playing well.
Right.
You get them, when they're you have to kind of buy low sometimes. Look at Pierre-Luc Dubois last year. I mean, nobody was interested in him. Washington took a chance, and in the end, that deal kind of worked out for both teams. So, I don't know, who might be interested in Lindholm. He could fit as a second.
I am.
I see him kind of almost more as a third. He's familiar in that market in Carolina, but, seems like it wasn't a great departure when he left.
I'm an advocate for it, but the I think management is not.
Well, I was just going to say, you've been tossing around Sam Bennett a lot, the Conn Smythe winner.
Right.
I looked it up before coming here. He was traded for a second-round pick and a prospect.
Right.
So buying low, like what EJ is saying, and I know EJ.
I have a Sam Bennett story that I can't tell in the air right now.
EJ, I know you're a big fan of Shane Pinto. We've been kind of bantering that name. What do you think about that if Carolina tries to acquire him?
Well, I mean, I like Shane Pinto. I think there's a lot of upside there. He's still a very young player, but I don't know if the Ottawa Senators are looking to move him.
That's a problem.
That's the question. That's the question mark. I mean, I think that he's part of their core group, but again, things change. Management has changed dramatically in Ottawa over the last 18, 24 months.
Yep.
So maybe there's a different feeling, but, I get the sense that they have, they like Shane Pinto in Ottawa and they see him as part of that young core. But, you never know. It depends what's going the other way and what the needs are of another team. But, Shane Pinto, I'm a fan of his. I saw him play World Junior. I've watched his development in Ottawa, and, he had a little bit of a bump in the road there with, the personal issues that he had there. But, it all seems to have worked out, and he's a guy that can help you win, in my view.
I love Shane Pinto. Is Vegas going to make a run at Mitch Marner? And if they do, who can be pried from their roster because they would have to clear some cap space?
Well, yes, Vegas will make a run at any hockey player that's really good. That's who they are. They are not going to be, they're going to be involved. I was hearing that Alex Pietrangelo was having some, significant health things and might be a candidate for a long-term injury, which would open up some cap room. So, I do think also, Adam, what the new CBA is going to likely be, I think they're going to likely announce that sometime this summer, maybe late summer. I think they've been working on it. The relationship between the PA and the NHL has never been really better in my 20, 30 years of covering this thing. And I think they are going to address that idea of players, on LTIR, and they've monitored it. I know they weren't happy with the Evander Kane situation. You've seen some of the reporting that the league is going to look back into that now. They didn't want to disturb they thought it was unfair, from what I was understanding, to do that during the playoffs to the players that were there in Edmonton. It would have been weird if Edmonton won the Cup and Evander Kane played a key role, and all of a sudden they would go back and be looking into this, but that's not what happened. We'll see what plays out there. But, that's a factor too. Teams may be more limited in how they can address situations when players are on long-term injury. But to get back to the question, I do think that they will definitely be a player for Marner. And I think if they have to move a player, I think one guy that I think that they're not as maybe enamored with as they were when they got him and he's played there is another former Carolina Hurricane, Noah Hannafin. So I don't know what the situation is going to be there, but I guess, with the Vegas Golden Knights, you can never say never about anything because they go after players and they're trying to win like yesterday. So we'll see what they do.
All right, so what does EJ Raddick do now? You just go to the beach for the next – go to the Jersey Shore for the next 2 months?
That would be wonderful if that were the case. I am actually preparing to do NHL Tonight this evening, 6 to 7 Eastern. So I'll be on that program. And then on Monday, I will be on that program as well. And then on Wednesday, I will be on a plane to Los Angeles for the NHL Draft. And then when I return from that, we have I believe the free agent window opens on July 1st, which is probably a few days after that. And then, there'll be a couple of days of those kind of moves, and then we'll see what happens next. So, but I think I will certainly have some time once we get into the first, maybe second week of July to kind of take it all in. And by then, the whole landscape of the league could be dramatically different with all the different potential free agents and trades that could occur in that window. Yeah,
I anticipate a lot of movement down here. I'm on that week, so I'll be calling you. I appreciate your time, EJ, always. All right. Enjoy the weekend. I don't know.
All right.
Enjoy TV tonight, enjoy the weekend, and then TV on Monday.
All right, I will. And listen, I'm always here for you, Adam, and now especially that you have Ben, even more so.
Great. See, Ben, you're paying dividends already. EJ, thank you so much. Take care.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, man. That's EJ Raddick. All right, so burst my bubble about Shane Pinto. Is not leaving. Didn't mention Tomas Hertl.
He left it a little open.
Yeah,
you never know. You got to inquire.
I would be knocking on all the doors.
Then you got to tell Steve Staios, move Ridley Gregg over to third line center, and that fixes your problem right there.
I love Ridley Gregg.
I just want to say, Tampa, why they're the
you're
best.
Back on this.
Yeah, they created the Panthers.
Why? How did they create the Panthers?
I have a fitting movie quote for you. All right, in the creation, I could go two ways. I could go Ocean's 11, or I could go Batman 1989.
I would go Ocean's 11.
All right, well, that's what I'll go with. So when Danny and Rusty are trying to recruit Ruben,
right?
And Ruben finds out that it's Terry Benedict that they're gonna rob their casinos. Ruben says how ruthless Benedict is. He says he'll kill you,
and then I'm gonna work on you.
Yeah. So if you steal from him, that's what happens. So 2022 Panthers won the President's Trophy, averaging over 4 goals a game, which is something we haven't seen in 25 years, and then we get the Battle of Florida in the second round. What did Tampa do to Florida?
Crushed them.
Sweep, 3 goals allowed.
Yeah.
So
Florida
they killed them.
Completely changed their mindset.
They killed them and embarrassed them.
They did.
So that was the onus for Bill Zito to change things up.
Huberdeau.
Who had 115 points. Mackenzie Weegar out for Kachuk, game changer, and bring in Paul Maurice when he had a Jack Adams finalist in Andrew Brunette.
Yep. Changed the entire mindset of the team, the attitude of the team.
Thank my historic team.
There you go.
Tampa Bay
the second best team of the salary cap era, responsible for the best team of the salary cap era. Ben Felcher, thank you very much. We'll run numbers again.
Sure.
We got a lot of stuff to do. All right, when we come back, a little bit of a rewind, and we'll get you ready for the weekend next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
Did you know Medicare fraud is costing us $68 billion a year? The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medical Patrol Program's goal is to reduce Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. If you suspect any billing or Medicare fraud issues, we're here to help. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go. The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. NBA Finals Game 7 is Sunday. Same day, the United States will play Haiti, the last match in group play in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. They have already clinched a spot in the quarterfinals. Some people care about that. I do. And Club World Cup is going on. I don't care about the competition, but it is cool to see some of these clubs playing in the U.S. It's been disturbing. Club World Cup is drawn fairly well, not great. It's kind of been disturbing to see how few people are attending. Like the USA match last night, not a lot of people there. Yeah. Mexico always sells out, although I don't think the Mexico match, the first match, was a complete sellout. But, man, I heard a conversation with Tyler Adams recently, who, when healthy, will be the starting defensive midfielder for the United States, where Adams said that we've got to give people a reason to like us. It's amazing what Copa America did to that for the U.S. It was such a disappointing performance, which led to a disappointing result. During the U.S. didn't get a lot of opportunities like that. So we have the World Cup every 4 years, the European Championships, which is, to me, the best soccer tournament in the world. Not better than the World Cup, because it's all the best teams from Europe, right? There's a lot of incredibly good nations that, although it'll never happen again since the World Cup has expanded, but there were a lot of incredibly talented nations that didn't make the World Cup because there weren't enough spots available. Like, I believe it was Italy and Portugal before the last World Cup played for a spot in the World Cup. How is that even possible? Portugal's got arguably the third best roster in the world. Like, I'm not even kidding. Portugal, Spain, and France, to me, are the three best rosters in the world. And they had to play for a spot with Italy. Portugal won and got to the World Cup. Italy did not. But the European Championship's an incredible, incredible tournament. So that's every other year. And last year, during the Euros, Copa America, because it was played in the United States, allowed Mexico, like there were CONCACAF nations playing in it. Like there's probably an argument to be made that should go on all the time because, heck, there's only in CONMEBOL, which is South America basically, there's just so many countries there. Not that many. And that CONMEBOL and CONCACAF should probably combine to do something similar to what the European Championships are, which would make that an every 4-year event also, which would be probably better for USA Soccer. It's a tangent I didn't need to go on. I apologize. But the U.S. did so poorly and the Greg Berhalter era, part 2.0, was so underwhelming that I think it sapped all of the unconditional love out of it. And now there's a new head coach in Mauricio Pochettino who has had great success in Europe, whether it's, it's all relative what success he had at Chelsea, but he was good at Tottenham. I think he brought Tottenham to a Champions League final. He was good at PSG, but didn't stick around any of those spots long enough, but is a really good technical manager. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of, again, unconditional love for Team USA. There's a lot of angry people. Like, the men's national team has been poor really for the last year. But they haven't been using anything that resembles really their first team. Like, I don't assign any importance to what I'm watching now, what I saw in the two friendlies, what I saw in the matches they lost, a few months earlier, because that wasn't the team that we're going to send to the World Cup. But because people are already angry That is the given, not the honeymoon period for a coach like Pochettino. Anyway, there you go. All right, back to real quick. We're not going to have time for a rewind. I'll talk real briefly about the Hurricanes here. Eric Robinson signs 4 years, $1.7 million per. That's cool. It now gives Carolina 12 forwards under contract. We're not talking about restricted free agents. We are talking about 12 forwards who have a contract for next year, signed. 5 defensemen have a contract for next year. Slavin, Chatfield, Gostisbehere, Walker, Nikishin. 5. Technically, Nikishin, if they wanted, they could play him in the minor leagues. That ain't going to happen. Scott Morrow, who has a contract also for next year, is likely going to be starting the season in the minor leagues. So Carolina's got, with 2 goalies signed, Carolina has, 19 players of a 20-man opening night roster, 19 players signed, and about $28.5 million to spend. So, what do they need? Well, to fill out the roster, they need a top 4 right shot defenseman. We could just start there. But what they need is another center, a center to replace Jesperi Kotkaniemi, maybe to shuffle him down the lineup, but to replace him. They need a goal-scoring winger. We could argue that they need another goalie. But now what it really is about is you've basically got all of your team signed. Now it's about looking at the roster, what will make us better, and going out and getting that. And so that is a center who can play in your top 6. A goal-scoring winger, somebody's going to bring you 30, somewhere between 30 and 40 goals. Maybe an agitator. Maybe those 2 things are the same. Like I said, if I'm the Hurricanes, if July 1 shows up and Brad Marchand is not signed, I am putting on a full-court press on that guy. Same for Aaron Ekblad. Sam Bennett's definitely staying, but I think Ekblad stays in Florida as well. I don't think they keep all 3. Should be interesting. And we're not that far away from the witching hour. Victoria, thank you. Have a good week.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We're not quite yet done with the NBA, but as we head to the weekend, Major League Baseball takes center stage, and no better place to get in on all the action than FanDuel. Maybe you're into offense.